Welcome back to SwissWatchExpo. This is Taking Time with Richard and
Jonathan.
And we're going to do something we don't see a whole heck of a lot. Obviously, we're geeks on watches, and we see lots of videos too. But we don't see these very often, and we're going to tell you all about it. Stick around. All right, welcome back again. So we're going to do luminescent watches. Obviously, there's lots of them in the industry. You see them all over the place, and we've picked out some of them that we think were cool. We're just going to talk about them a little bit because we don't really see a whole lot of people doing videos about that. You're going to see some superimposed videos of these. Obviously, we're not going to shut off all the lights because you wouldn't be able to see our glorious faces.
Even though we wanted to.
But we're going to superimpose some really cool photos for you guys. That way you can see what we're actually talking about and when we're talking about it. And so you'll be able to see that. But let's get into like what luminescent watches are. Why don't you start us out?
Well, I mean, let's go into a little bit of the history of it. So luminescence used in watches. I think you said Panerai was the first one.
Yeah.
With the Luminor.
Yeah.
But essentially it started out with radium.
Yeah.
So radium. Essentially radium is an extremely radioactive material that they found glows in the dark naturally. Early, introduction of the material, they didn't realize like how harmful it was, to humans. But essentially through trial and error, at the expense of some people's lives, unfortunately, they moved on to essentially tritium. Tritium is another radioactive material. It basically like doesn't even go through human skin. It's that less of a radioactive material on the scale, and it's actually still used today. So it's completely safe to wear the watches that do have them. But essentially after that, the watch industry essentially found that they could make their own luminescence material, essentially Luminova. I think it was made by a Japan company first. And then they moved on to essentially like Luminova, we found out did have an expiration, essentially, like it does like eventually die out. And then they came out with Super-Luminova, which is in 99% of watches today. It's completely safe, harmless. It's made by the individual brands. Essentially, it just uses light. It absorbs light, and then whenever the lights go out, it's glowing still during the day. It's just whenever there's no UV light, you see it the most.
Right. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Well, appreciate that. And kind of going back in the history a little bit, I think we could probably start with pulling up the ball watch because that one still has tritium cells.
They still use tritium gas.
Tritium gas within the, especially you see them in the hands here. I think there's other brands that do the same, very similar thing, but this one's not very bright, but it'll last for a very, very, very long time. And you don't have to. It doesn't necessarily, from what I understand, tritium doesn't necessarily need a whole lot of light absorption to be able to emit some light. So you can see this watch even if you have been inside of a cellar all day.
That's the great thing about using radioactive material is that it doesn't need light to absorb and to essentially charge and then show that charge. Whereas Luminova and Super-Luminova do, but it's safe.
Right. Yeah. So that's the big part. That's probably the most important part. But it's kind of neat. This one has it has the tritium pretty much on the entire thing. The neat thing is at the 12 o'clock marker on the dial, it has this orange hue too. So it's a little bit more dynamic than just your typical greenish blue or.
That's another thing too is the colors.
Yeah.
So each brand kind of like differentiates themselves with different colors.
Yeah, and it's very neat. And next time, I think if we do these videos again, you guys got to let us know if you guys like this because, like we said, a lot of people aren't doing these videos. Let us know in the comments if you want us to do more of these videos. That way, you can see what these watches look like at night, and we'll be able to find some really cool ones that's maybe different color variations and things like that. We picked these just because they stuck out in our inventory and they're really cool and they're something you could buy today. Which one do you want to go to next?
Let's just go along the line. So we got Tudor. With the, I think this is the left-hand drive.
No? Yep, left-hand drive.
No? Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah. Backwards?
Yeah, a little backwards today. But yeah, they use Super-Luminova. But this is cool because the actual lume plots where the indices are faux aged.
You got like faux patina, tina.
To make it kind of look like that the Super-Luminova is burnt out, but it's not. I think this is green whenever it glows.
It's like a greenish blue, but it's bright. It's vibrant. I was actually really surprised because I was testing these out a little bit yesterday, just to see which ones are going to fit really good for the video. This is extremely bright, and you got these snowflake hands, so it's very much in your face. There's no question where it's at, where it's located.
What I wear.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, if you're down below water, if you're actually going to dive in this, it has a 500 meter rating on this one.
Yeah.
If you're actually diving with this watch, then you're going to be able to see extremely well. It's an extremely visible watch. Very bright. I might argue to say that it's out of all 5 of them, it may actually be the brightest.
Really?
Which I didn't expect.
Even with this one?
Yeah, but then, that's a good segue into this one. This one's just a really cool watch. This is the Heuer Aquaracer, also 500 meter water resistance. This one basically glows in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it right now.
Yeah.
And so there's no real differentiation between what you're seeing now and what you're seeing at night. I like the fact that they've made the entire thing black because that kind of gives this almost air of the watch always being in this permanent state of glowing. And it's very cool.
Basically a flashlight during the day.
It really is. And so it's just a neat thing. Of course, you got the luminescent dot. What do you call that?
The lume pip.
The lume pip. That's got a lume pip right here at 12 o'clock. So I learned something new today.
Yeah.
So of course, if you need to rotate the bezel, then you're gonna be able to see that where you started, where you're located, and how much time has gone by. Yeah. And so, unlike these two, where you may not necessarily know where all the lume plots are and what's going to glow whenever you're looking at it, you know exactly what's going to glow on this one because it's basically already lit up. So it's just a really neat watch, neat thing from Tag Heuer. And a lot of people sleep on Tag Heuer. They make phenomenal watches.
They really do.
They really do. What about, let's go to Blancpain, because I like the Cartier, and I like talking about that watch.
Okay. Blancpain, one of the oldest brands in Swiss watchmaking, essentially came out with the first diver's watch. Mm-hmm. They have extensive military history, and that's another thing too, is that these watches with the intention of not just divers, but military use, luminescence is a big key factor, especially like for forward operating units during the night and stuff like that. You need to be able to orient not just yourself, but like know what time it is for conducting operations and stuff like that. So Blancpain does a really cool job of keeping the tradition and the history still alive with the luminescence and everything. And this whole essentially everything that's colored.
Everything glows. On this watch, everything glows.
Yeah.
I mean, even the chronograph, the chronograph hands glow. I mean, it's just an incredible watch.
Yeah. And this is 200 meters of water resistance?
I think so. Well, it's 50 fathoms, so whatever that is, right? What's the mathematical equation on that?
I don't know.
A lot? I think. No, and actually, the 50 fathoms was the original dive rating, so that's why they called it that. But obviously, the watch goes much deeper than that nowadays.
Yeah.
But of course, it just has like you were saying, unlike some of the ball doesn't have everything on it that glows. Not everything on the Tudor glows, not everything on the Tag Heuer glows, but of course on the Blancpain, everything is lit up. So you have it's kind of like having a computer with your CPU, all operations, and right in front of you, you can see everything going on all the time. Anyway, that's weird, but weird analogy. Just let that go. All right, so we'll go to the Cartier. I think this was my personal pick. I think you guys, if you've seen our videos, obviously I love the Calibre. And this is just one other reason why I love the Calibre, because this has probably one of the more unique luminescent styles out of all of them. You know what to expect out of the other ones. You're going to get the hands. The hands are going to glow. Of course, the minute markers are going to glow. The hour markers are going to glow. But in this one, it's a little bit different, and this is why I chose this one in particular. The 12 o'clock marker, this giant 12 o'clock Roman numeral marker glows, and this ring around the small seconds glows. So you get this chapter ring. So it has this very unique style at night. Not your typical layout that you'd see from almost every other watch out there. So it's just a unique style. And so also the pip on the bezel here, it also glows too. So it's just sort of like the Tag Heuer, where it has, you can obviously orient it to keep time, and you'll be able to see that. Now the rest of the bezel doesn't glow, but this just has a really unique layout, and you'll see that whenever it's put up on the screen if you haven't seen it already. It's just a really cool style. So just one more reason for me to love the Calibre. Also another reason for you to love the Calibre. If anybody wants to buy this watch for me, call me at SwissWatchExpo.
They'll tell you all about it.
I'll tell you all about it. But really neat luminescent watches. I think it's very cool to kind of do this video.
Yeah.
It's going to be neat to see what it looks like in post-production when you guys get the opportunity to see what the video looks like and how these watches glow at night. You know?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do we have a favorite? I don't even think we talked about that for this video. It's been a while since we've kind of done a favorite. Do you have a favorite of all?
I mean,
Put me on the spot here because we usually have an answer for that.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Tudor.
Oh, you cheater. I kind of saw that coming. Yeah.
How's that cheating?
Because I already knew the answer. I'm actually going to go with the tag. It's just so different. I mean, the Calibre is too easy for me. I can't say that again. But if I knock out the Calibre, the tag's just a really cool watch. It's affordable. This thing's less than $3,000. You get a black case. I mean, it's just a really cool, sinister looking piece. I mean, especially, Halloween's coming up too. If this video will post somewhere around that too. This is a cool watch to wear if you're going to be the Grim Reaper, like Jason or something like that.
Yeah, give the public ideas.
Just saying it. Maybe not this one. Maybe we'll give your presents away if you're trying to hide.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, let us know what your favorite is. Let us know if you like this video. If you like the idea of seeing the luminescent watches, and let us know what else you'd like to see. Engage with us. That's what we're here for. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that fancy jazz. Let us know what you think, and we'll catch you next time on Taking Time.